As always, it's great to have you back at CoinLady channel, where we'll be bringing you all the latest and greatest in XRP happenings. Coinbase seems to be gearing up for a fight with the SEC. The details of this fight are important to the entire industry, so they will be discussed in this video. The other reason I'm writing is to show you how special a company Ripple is. The importance of Ripple to the future of our financial system was brought home to me by a fascinating video I came across earlier today. You want to see this without a shadow of a doubt. In this video, I'd like to discuss a surprising stance that Coinbase is currently taking against the SEC, given that the exchange delisted XRP almost immediately after the SEC claimed that it was a security of Ripple. This came as quite a shock, given that Coinbase has been adamant for years that we do not list any securities on our exchange. Furthermore, the SEC and Coinbase work together, and Coinbase was never told it couldn't list XRP. Therefore, many people found Coinbase's decision to delist XRP after the SEC classified it as a Ripple security to be rather weak. Since you probably wouldn't have a lot of faith in your own analysis of which tokens on your exchange are securities and which aren't, I think Coinbase may have made a major policy error in this case. In the event that you delisted XRP before a determination was made as to whether or not it constituted a security, you may find yourself in a sticky situation. That "oh, maybe we got this one wrong" tone comes across if you're proven wrong. Because of this, I'm curious as to how confident you are that the various tokens on Coinbase's exchange are not securities. The decision seems hastily made. In my view, it would have been more prudent to await the outcome of the Ripple SEC case and then base policy on that. This way, if XRP were to be classified as a security, the exchange could remove it, but if it wasn't, it would remain listed. Regardless, XRP is no longer available on Coinbase, which is why I find myself in the position I'm about to take rather surprising. Coinbase may be going to court to argue that their staking product is not a security, but the SEC has already filed a complaint. Because of the settlement between the SEC and Kraken, everyone now knows that the Kraken staking product was in fact a security. However, the services provided by Coinbase and Kraken are vastly distinct. The core of Kraken's business model was to generate income from a variety of assets through a combination of staking and lending. As an illustration, it only sang about staking. Earnings are possible from staking Bitcoin on Kraken. Bitcoin can no longer be gambled with, as is common knowledge. Kraken, in essence, claimed to be a staking operation while lending out Bitcoin. As I see it, you were taking a risk by relying solely on Kraken to deliver your yield without employing any sort of protocol. If I deposit Ether into the Ethereum network, I believe the protocol will return my investment to me. All of these networks have incentives set up from the get-go. Suffice. Use either my HBAR or my algorithm. Even better, I don't have to rely on anyone else to give me access to these perks. The network's platform is essential to me, and I rely on it. While Coinbase will store your assets for you, you will still be able to earn rewards and use your own wallet. As a result, it can be concluded that Coinbase is not profitable in and of itself. This is crucial, as your entire business model relies on Coinbase's success. You're basically just trusting Coinbase to keep your money and do some of the heavy lifting for you. So far as I can tell, Coinbase agrees with this assessment. It's safe to say that this won't affect the system's security. The Kraken was effective in producing fruit. This is precisely what they were up to. Because it was a safety precaution, they shouldn't have acted in that way. In reality, Coinbase is just making things easier for you by staking your assets, and you get to keep everything that comes in as a result. As a result, they are completely fruitless. This is a critical distinction, and I applaud Coinbase for emphasizing it. I do think about what might happen in the future. Due to the increased centralization of the user interface, the back end is likely to experience the greatest degree of decentralization. Most cryptocurrency trading on the cruise will occur through these exchanges. There are many who would rather have Coinbase do the heavy lifting, though, to risk their own money and property. They also want Clickstick and Coinbase to handle it, and it's important to realize that even if you hate the idea of keeping any assets on exchanges and never use them, it's still important that exchanges get guidance on what is and isn't allowed. Now that obstacle will be easier to see. At this time, it is unclear whether Kraken was the only firm the SEC targeted because of the manner in which it released its staking product, or if the SEC decides to outlaw staking products altogether. The bottom line is that this is a very encouraging sign that will hopefully lead to greater transparency. It's crucial for companies like Coinbase with financial resources to take on the SEC. If the SEC and Congress do not issue rules, it will be difficult to know what is legal and what is not. I'd like to switch gears to a new topic right now because I find it utterly fascinating. That's why Ripple isn't like other companies. Before I get into a couple of really interesting facts, I'd like to show you this investor's video about digital assets. In fact, doing so will only serve to highlight the issue even further. There are many other companies that are much bigger than Ripple, but they don't get nearly as much attention from key players in the American financial system and government agencies. I'd like to show the logic behind the excitement about Ripple. In my opinion, when you take into account everything else, the SEC case will seem trivial. Listen up, it explains a bunch of cool information in a way that you won't find anywhere else. Okay, let's get going. Is Swift a competitor? Is Swift something you could imagine partnering with in the future? And what about monetary exchanges that occur on websites like Revolut or WeChat? Yeah. Because of the many strategic considerations involved, Ripple made an early decision to position itself as an infrastructure layer. One of them is the fact that all regulatory frameworks are focused on regulated endpoints. Know your customer (AML) and other anti-money laundering jargon. This is ensured if you restrict your work to regulated endpoints only. WeChat, like many other tech companies, must handle their own compliance reporting. Quickly, Swift, to some extent, Swift can be seen as an adversary. In reality, a Swift transfer is just a form of messaging, so the situation is a little more nuanced than that. Note, this is not the same as liquidity. You are communicating with banks that have available funds by sending them bank messages. So, the top 3 liquidity banks are Citibank, HSBC, and JP Morgan Chase. You made reference to Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase. Returning to Jamie and JP Morgan then. What do you think J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs need to alter the most if they don't want to see a decline in market share as competitors offer better, faster, or more attentive service to their customers? The bankers' frantic voices can be heard clearly now. And when you send a quick message, you're telling the bank to open up some cash and checking that the debits and credits add up correctly. So, in a way, we reduce it to its barest essentials. Since we compete on both the messaging and the liquidity fronts, Ripple is in direct competition with both CD and Swift. Finally, as I've already mentioned, Swift has been around for at least half a century. In terms of design, not much has changed. It's still slow, on a daily basis. It is still quite pricey and prone to mistakes, especially when compared to alternative options. Among other things, this is because the protocol only allows for one-way communication. So if I make a typo and write Tassos with 1 S instead of 2, you'll end up with 3 S's in the Middle East, but that won't stick. They'll tell you that your name doesn't match the one associated with your account. This is incorrect. You can get the actual time right now if you use some relatively new piece of technology. After entering in some data, such as a task and an account number, you'll see the current time appear below. Does the tally add up? Oops, my bad. Rather than the 6% error rate reported for SWIFT, you will experience 10 bips of errors, or 99.9% efficiency, thanks to my fat finger. As a result, we consider these to be superior technologies with broad potential for use across the board, including across the entire banking system. Therefore, WeChat may become a client of ours if we refrain from competing with them. The video by Brad Garlinghouse interested me because it describes the Ripple's rivals in great detail. The sheer variety of participants is what I find most intriguing about it. We are currently communicating via Swift. Further, banks supply liquidity, and Ripple offers a convenient one-stop shop for all your payment needs. Ripple has the necessary software and funds to make the transfer immediately, in any part of the globe. Rapid and early development drew the attention of influential people in the United States. For the time being, this is what we have seen in relation to the Ripple SEQ case. Before we continue, I just want to say that gaining access to documents like these that we would not have had otherwise is one of my favorite parts of the SE case. Take note of this. Are you aware that in October 2013 Chris Larsen was invited by the US Department of Treasury to present the Ripple team's vision for a global blockchain-based payment system to regulators? Do you find yourself paying more attention now? This suggests that Ripple contacted the US Treasury in 2013, well before the company's launch. We are the only recently founded company in the world to have already had meetings with the US Treasury. This shows that the most significant players in our system were aware of a major development taking place before Ripple even got started, and before Ripple started achieving some of their major objectives, like OTL. This is due to the fact that the product our financial system receives from Ripple software and XRP is truly revolutionary. There are exceptions for other types of companies. There is no doubt that Ripple is distinctive in many ways. After taking a step back, I think we'll see that the Ripple SEC case was just the culmination of an audit of a company that will undoubtedly alter the course of human history. I value your presence here immensely, by the way. I trust you enjoyed this bit of news. If you find this useful, please subscribe and give us a like. See you later, bye.